Flying Tempo is the 6-4 favourite. Alshan Farja is 7-2. Conversing is 6-1 from 11-2. Book the Band 12-1. JD Rockefeller 12-1 has touched 10s. Dark Justice 20-1. Royal Barge 20s from 25s. Show More Faith 25s along with Icon Boogie. And Taming the Tweet is the 33-1 outsider. Let's start by talking about Flying Tempo, who carries a £6 penalty for the win last time out, which was seemingly an improvement in form over 9.5 furlongs at Wolverhampton.
Yeah, I think it was an improved performance. It's but you just mentioned the trip. That's an unknown here. He steps up to 11 furlongs. It's not guaranteed that it'll be as effective about that. Certainly on run style, you'd be hopeful. He finished the race off at Wolverhampton pretty well, but he's got to prove it. I think the £6 penalty is fine given the style he won. I think the trip is an unknown.
Okay, so that is Flying Tempo. I agree. There is a sort of doubt in Pedigree about whether the trip is absolutely ideal.
Yeah, there is. It's certain to be proven. Having said that, this is one of the races where I could not for the life of me see where the pace is going to come from.
Right. Okay. Alshan Farja showed improved form on handicap debut last time. That was fourth at this track over a mile. He's stepping up by 3 furlongs on trip, which you would think, being by a Lemon Drop Kid, at least that side of the pedigree, it's a positive move.
I thought there were elements in the other side as well, and I thought that allied to the way he finished the race off or plugged on last time out, you'd be hopeful that the extra 3 furlongs would suit him. We don't know, but I think there's a chance that will suit him.
Here he is. This is that performance when fourth behind Shirian. In the end, he's beaten 1.5 lengths, and he does stay on quite nicely. So both on run style, what he's delivered here, and on pedigree, the step up in trip does suggest that will be a positive.
I mean, he was bang under pressure, as you can see. He's holding it all pink colours, outpaced and in trouble early in the straight, and he just keeps on slowly and finishes fourth in the end. He's well to finish fourth. Certainly on this evidence, you'd say further than a mile, and there is definite hope in the pedigree that this sort of trip might suit him.
OK, that's him, and there he is heading to post. He is second in. A little bit keen.
Bit keen going down,
yeah, he is keen, isn't he? Conversing. Let's move on to him, who was second on his handicap debut at Southwell. That was over a mile. He was beaten by Birdie Boy 8 lengths in the end. It was a bit better form, and he steps up to by 2.5 furlongs in trip, which is maybe a little bit further than you would necessarily think.
Yeah, I've said before that Mark Johnson's a good judge of how far horses stay. He often surprises you, but you're just trying to give this the same concentration as the others. I didn't think it was a certainty on breeding at all that he would stay 11 furlongs, just looking at not knowing who trains it. I think the form it stands is his best run to date. I think it's pretty modest form. He's also got to prove, of course, given it is his best run, that he will be fully effective on Polytrack. That was on Fibre Sand. So it might be that everything's perfect tonight, but there are a couple of little question marks, I think.
Book the Band, horse number 2 in the Clive Britton colours, has improved with every start, and it was his best yet when fourth at Lingfield over 12 furlongs last time. Handicap debut off 59.
I thought 59 was about right, pound or two maybe too high, but I agree with you that there's been a little bit of improvement each time he's run. All 3 runs have been steadily run, which makes you just query slightly about how deep the form is, but this might be steadily run tonight.
JD Rockefeller represents Paul Darcy, who's already been in the winners' enclosure in the previous race. That was McBurney. This horse is returning from a short break. He was fourth at Lingfield over 10 furlongs in his handicap debut. Beaten favourite.
I didn't think that was much improvement for the step up to 10. He got beat 4.5 lengths there, so a drop of £1 means he's got to improve for the step up to 11. Didn't think there was enough evidence to suggest he would.
Dark Justice was Bench's emailed in, and he liked this filly each way in this race. Tim Pitt trains Andrea Seni on board. This horse is returning from 189 days off, and his best efforts are probably either side of his sole run on Polytrack, where she went probably a little bit too hard. But ultimately, in the long term, this step up and trip, and maybe even further, is going to be right up her alley, surely.
Definitely. I mean, 58 is probably a little bit more than she's deserved on what she's done. But those 3 runs have been at 7 furlongs. She's by a French Derby winner, and there is stamina on the dam side. You would imagine this is more her cup of tea. The 2 doubts are the mark and the fact that we haven't seen her for quite some time. So what sort of form she's in, which is interesting, I think, with the trip.
And whether there'll be much of a pace at the trip.
Well, that's right. I mean, I have no idea where that's going to come from. But she is down the line. This is going to be more her bag, whatever mark she ends up off.
Royal Barge is making her handicap debut off 52. What do you make of her in terms of the trip?
thought she might stay. I thought there was a chance she'd stay. I'm more a bit worried about the mark. I think you can only give her a mark of 52 on one run, the second run where she was 6th. The run either side of it where she'd beat one home, 13th of 14, 6th of 6, and they were poor runs. And the run where she did run maybe to a low 50s, again, was quite steadily run. So I just got question marks about the whole form, really.
The other 3 at 25s and 33s?
Shauna Moore, 5-race maiden, steps up 4 furlongs in trip today. The dam did say 10 furlongs, maybe that'll help her a little bit. Icon Boogie's an 11-race maiden. This is another one who stepped up and trip. Lots of them today. Doesn't run like 11 furlong pursuit. Can be a bit keen in his races. And what's the one I've missed out? Sorry.
Taming
the Tweet. Modest form at best in 3 maidens. 54 I thought was high enough.
Last couple to go in, Dark Justice and Al Sham Fajeur. They're lined up 1 mile and 3 furlongs. The journey this time, and they're off racing. And Show More Faith was one of the best away. Conversing is quick to go on with Taming the Tweet, however, as they race past the stands. Taming the Tweet in the blue and white jacket with Conversing in the dark green silks. Now moving up is Royal Barge into 3rd, followed by Show More Faith, then Flying Tempo on the inside in the purple jacket with the red cap. Dark Justice further back with Al Sham Fajeur, and then Book the Band towards the rear with Icon Boogie, and finally J.D. Rockefeller. Royal Barge now takes command as they head towards the back straight. Royal Barge strides into a 2.5 length lead over Conversing in 2nd. Taming the Tweet is back in 3rd, followed then by Show More Faith. The pace now looks generous. In the midfield is Flying Tempo with Dark Justice. A couple of lengths to Al Sham Fajeur, and then Book the Band, followed out the back by Icon Boogie, and lastly J.D. Rockefeller. A good 12 lengths first to last. Royal Barge still applying the pressure here in the hands of Amy Scott as they gallop down the back straight. Conversing is tracking the leader under Joe Fanning, then Taming the Tweet on the inside of Show More Faith. They're followed by Flying Tempo, who's always been in about 5th place, the inside of Dark Justice, as they race 2 by 2 down the back. Book the Band is further back with Icon Boogie. J.D. Rockefeller remains in last place looking on, swinging the right-hander at the bottom end of the racecourse, and still Royal Barge by 1.5 lengths, Conversing in 2nd. Conversing's got a break of about 3 lengths on the others. The front 2 really pressing on here, entering the final half mile. Show More Faith is out wide of Taming the Tweet, then Flying Tempo still locked away towards the inside of Dark Justice, Al Sham Fajeur, and then Book the Band, and out the back Icon Boogie and J.D. Rockefeller inside the final 3. Will these 2 come back to the pack here? Conversing looks ready to take Royal Barge. Taming the Tweet trying to rally. Flying Tempo now looking dangerous in the purple jacket and headgear, followed by Dark Justice. Conversing strikes the front, but quickly challenged now by Flying Tempo, charging down the outside. From the rear, Al Sham Fajeur is running on, but Flying Tempo has flown away as they run inside the final furlong. Flying Tempo chased hard by Al Sham Fajeur, and then the weakening Conversing, and this is one-way traffic here, and Flying Tempo is going to hose up in the hands of Graham Lee. Flying Tempo wins from Al Sham Fajeur in 2nd, Conversing 3rd, and then Book the Band for 4th.
Flying Tempo registers his 3rd win this season, 2 back-to-back, with a £6 penalty here. He's returned the 6-4 favourite for Graham Lee and Ed Dunlop. 2nd is Alston Farger, quite a way back, a respectful distance for Ian Mongan and Paul Howling. And 3rd was Conversing, who was briefly disputing the lead in the early stages and then settled behind Royal Barge, and he's weakened but not as markedly as the leader in the straight. Joe Fanning and Mark Johnson teaming up with the 3rd.
And very impressive this. I mean, we didn't know whether we'd get the trip. He really did. Probably the most impressive winner of the night so far. But actually, after Royal Barge pulled his way, Herfaway to the front early on, I thought they went at a pretty good pace. And a lot of horses were in trouble. Show More Faith was being pushed along 4 out. The eventual 4th, Book the Band, were being pushed along as run like a stayer, Book the Band. But the winner has always travelled well, sort of tucked in mid-div, but always going well, ridden really confidently, and has seen it out really well. Penalty was obviously no problem, and a progressive colt on this form who clearly gets 11 furlongs.
Yes, so you feel that in the end Royal Barge and being attended to by Conversing have set a good pace?
Good enough. There are a lot of horses in trouble. They were well strung out. It certainly, I didn't notice anything pulling. I think Conversing has run his race at the moment. This probably is what he is. He was